Hi everyone, I'm really sorry if my chair is like squeaky because like I don't know, I think I need to like tighten the screws or something. I don't know, I have no idea. Welcome back to my channel. If you recently finished your GCSEs or are about to start year 12 either in college or sixth form, or you're struggling to decide between college or sixth form, this video is for you. Or if you need general guidance or advice. So this video is based on my personal problems that I faced because I've been to both college and sixth form, so I know. I spent a year in college and 2 years in sixth form, so I kind of know the pitfalls and the weaknesses and strengths in both. So I'll start off with the difference between college and sixth form. One of the main determinants or the things that like were poignant for me personally was the fact that in college I had so many frees. And you haven't got as much guidance as if you went to a sixth form attached to a school. One of the things you need to make sure you're aware of is that if I'm only aware of a sixth form that's attached to a school, basically they were very like adamant and very like they kept a close eye over everyone, whereas in college you don't really get that close eye, you don't really get that kind of like tight kind of guidance, if that makes sense. But one of my first points is know if the school structure works for you. One of my biggest flaws was the lack of school structure, which really was like a detriment to my education. I went crazy with like the free time I had, and I didn't like, for example, my sixth form, like the school, because it was like the school structure, it followed the school structure. Like if it's a structure you're familiar to, if it's a structure you're familiar to, it can help a lot. Maybe college won't be suitable for you because of how much free reign you have over your time. If you're someone who lacks discipline, maybe a sixth form is better for you or more suited for you. Don't just go to a college just because all your friends are going there. Like that's like one of the dumbest mistakes you can make. Another mistake you can make is going there just because your favourite teacher is still teaching there. If it's attached to a school, say you've been there since year 7 and you're going up into year 12. Like that's like one of the biggest mistakes you can make. So please don't make it. Don't make that mistake because it's not. And not that I ever did that. I've always been like a loner-ish. But like I'm independent. I think on my own. I don't follow a crowd. So that's my first point. See if the school structure works for you and see if that's like good for you, especially if you lack discipline. At some point you're gonna have to face the fact that you lack discipline. You can't forever like pretend like, oh I'm gonna get disciplined at this point. At some point you have to actually like get your life together. You have to get your life together and you just got to remember what you're doing it for, your drives, what motivates you, and try not to compare yourself to other people like your friends that are getting higher grades than you or seem to understand or grasp the specification, not specimen, better than you, because A-level is completely different from GCSE. Some people are able to completely like manage the jump from GCSE to A-level, and some people struggle at first, but at a certain time they do eventually get there. Also, just know that how you perform at the beginning of year 12 may not be how you perform at the beginning of year 13. Like it can change, it can completely change. Also, don't base your performance on GCSE to your A-level either, because you might perform like amazing at GCSE, but at A-level you might like struggle, you might suck, and you might not be like applying what they're teaching you in the correct way. You're not applying what your teacher or the examiner is looking for in the correct way, which is a problem. So you need to make sure you're doing that, or else you're not going to improve. One of my biggest problems was the fact that I couldn't take criticism. I took everything personal, and I was like stubborn. I was like a stubborn learner, and I've just learned that completing some insight in myself and being mindful and being reflective on my behaviour over the year, I've just seen that I have not been receptive to feedback or criticism because I have just like got an arrogance to myself. And don't confuse arrogance with confidence, but arrogance is I'm not in the wrong. No one can ever doubt me. No one can ever, my work is perfect. My work is like not flawed. Well, that's a really bad approach to have, especially at A-level, because you will be completely destroyed. Another thing I wanted to mention, which is basically my point number 3 or 2, I think, UCAS can actually motivate you. Some days the only things getting me out of bed was chasing that offer of desperately wanting to get into my first choice university. I had like zero motivation through year 12, year 13, halfway through year 13, but actually having UCAS there and like a goal in mind, that actually helped a lot. Like it didn't hinder me in any way. Actually, like, I don't know, it just, no, I do know, it just helped channel my energy into one direction because I knew this is where I want to be and this is where I want to go. So UCAS and your dream university can actually motivate you to do better. Just don't let it, and my 4th point probably is, don't let criticism or even praise immobilise you or paralyse you, because that's what happened to me. Basically, I was predicted a very high grade. I don't want to say what I was predicted because I'm scared if I don't get that in my results day. I'll be like, oh, well, I'll tell you what I was predicted. So basically, I got predicted an A star in Fine Art, A-level Fine Art, AQA, and I was completely like, it was like the 4 stages of grief. It was like I was so happy, I was like over the moon, I was dancing, and then later on it just filled me with dread because I was just like, how am I supposed to do this? And my art teacher put it perfectly. I think she said she thought it was because of the shock of how tumultuous my A-level journey has been, and it has been. Like, I went from one college, dropping out at 17, taking a gap year and restarting year 12 at 6th form at the age of 19. Like, it's been chaotic, you know what I mean? So I'm 20 now and I finished, but what I'm saying is it's been very chaotic, it's been tumultuous, and I just didn't expect it. So what you should do is don't let the kind of like criticism or praise immobilize you. Like, that was praise for me, and it filled me with dread. I went to my head a year to get it moved down because I was just like, A star is too high, I can't get that. Like, that's like crazy. Like, that's like, I don't know, I just thought it was unreachable. But if your teacher has a confidence in you to predict you that means they believe in you. So you should believe in yourself and give some credit to yourself as well. Also with criticism, for me, it immobilized me because I was just like, what am I doing wrong? Because I've tried everything. You just need to go back to the basics. You need to ask your teacher, what are you actually doing wrong? You need to, if you need to, change your whole writing style. Ask your teachers, is my writing style wrong? Because I had to change my writing style in history, especially with the Germany side. I was writing completely wrong. It was very narrative. My teachers did an intervention and it really helped with how to write an analytical essay, and that just sent my grades out of this world. It just, from like really low E's to B's to like mid-ground B's in history. So really you need to learn what you're like, what's going wrong, like how is my writing style? Am I approaching this right? Am I looking at the specification and what they're looking for, what the examiners are looking for? Am I doing this right? Am I just writing a story, especially for history? My 4th point is start making flashcards early. Don't delay. Please do not delay. And also, I say this because I was making flashcards. I only started making flashcards in about February 2024. That is really late. And that's because my learning method, I forgot what it's called, it begins with a K. It's like the learning of doing. Let me just find out what it's called. The learning style is called kinesthetic. It's the learning of doing. So doing, making flashcards, doing past papers, blurting, brain dumps, like just like regurgitating all the information you know. That's my way of learning. You need to also understand that your learning style can change. Don't just think just because my learning style when I was at GCSE was auditory, it's going to be auditory for A-level, because it might not be. As you age, your learning style may change. That's the case for me. For me, I learned in year 7, especially year 7 up to around year 11, my learning style was like, I don't know what it's called as well, but it was like colours. I can memorize colours. So if I highlighted a piece of information in like orange, I would flash my brain back to the colour orange and I could suddenly remember what I wrote. I don't know why, but ever since like I became ill with like psychosis, for example, my memory was just completely gone and my learning method changed. It became something I had to repetitively do, not just for like relying on my memory. So your learning style may change. Again, back to what I was saying with don't delay making flashcards. It's a lot of work to cover 2 years of content at the beginning of March or February 2024 when your exams are literally like 3-4 months away. So please do not do what I did. Make your flashcards as early as possible. I had some flashcards that I had on Quizlet, but they weren't really good flashcards. You need to make effective flashcards as well. If you want a video on how to make effective flashcards, I could like make a video on that. But my flashcards were just completely like crap at the beginning. They were just like, it would be like, describe the first event, describe the second event, describe the third event. And maybe if you're able to do that in the first 2-3 weeks, that's fine. But like 2 months later, you're not going to remember what the first event is. You need to include like buzzwords in your flashcards to be able to remember what you're writing, because if you don't, it's like you're making your brain work harder, when if you just put a buzzword, your brain is intelligent enough to remember what that buzzword links to. So please make your flashcards early, because you're just going to give yourself a whole lot of work to do. That goes for making essay plans early, making revision posters, mind maps. I use mind maps. That was my revision style before I started making flashcards, just memorizing mind maps. But make your flashcards early, because you will suffer if you don't, and I promise you will, because you'll start to panic. It becomes a case of, oh, it's fine, I'll start this close to the exam date. But what happened with me is I realized, even though I told myself I would start doing this at this certain point, something else would come in the way and distract me from that. And then I ended up being delayed even further back. So don't like say, oh, I don't need to do this revision now because I can do it in April. I can do it in the Easter holidays, because you don't know what your body's going to do to you. You don't know if you're going to get ill. You don't know if there's a family emergency. You don't know what's going to happen with your head. You don't know if you're going to be completely burnt out and you're just going to be like... So what I'm saying is, if you have the desire to do the revision, then do it. Don't put it off. My next point is use your freeze and push yourself to actually stay behind at school. Work hard now and reap the rewards later. So I started staying back after school. People say treat sixth form school, university like it's a 9 to 5. So treat it like it's a 9 to 5. Like, if you want, you don't have to, but I personally did, because I wouldn't study at home. I was so distracted at home. I didn't want to study at home, but I forced myself to stay back after school and start studying, and it was really effective. I remember the first this might not sound big, but the first indication that it was actually working was I came second in a Quizlet at school in history based on Edward VI as a Tudor monarch, and I came sixth. At six, I said Edward VI. I came second. I came second in the class, and I was like so happy because that's never happened before. There was a time where I was so embarrassed, and I was like narcissistic and arrogant because I was just like, oh, I don't want to join this Kahoot because I end up always losing anyway. And I challenged that, and I ended up doing better than what I thought I would do. So try and push yourself to work hard, stay behind if you want to, even come before school. That's what I did as well. I stayed before school. I would wake up at 6 a.m, get the bus. It takes like 30 minutes to get to my school, but sixth form, sorry. Yeah, so I'd get to school at like 8:20, 1 hour before my first period started, and then I would start studying, and that helped massively. My next point is to download Flora or Focus To Do apps to keep track of your progress so you can visually compare what you're doing. If you keep getting distracted by your phone, however, get a book and write out how much, turn off your phone and put it in a different room. I used to hand my phone in to my boyfriend actually and send him into a different room so I could study, but me handing in my phone made sure I didn't use it, or I didn't just like completely like block out the fact that I needed to study, and I was not supposed to use my phone and picked it up anyway. So I'm going to go get my book and I'm going to show you what I mean by scheduling out your times. This is the book. It was a gift from my lovely boyfriend Victor, and I love him very much. But basically what I'm talking about is I would like, if this will focus, I would like schedule out everything that I wanted to do on that day and like tick off anything that I've done, and anything I hadn't done I'd complete it over the weekend, and like so. And I just do that because sometimes Focus To Do apps, people ignore it, people don't listen to it, including me. I use the Pomodoro method as well. It used to be 25, 15 breaks, then it went to 25, 5 breaks, 5-minute breaks, then it went to 30-minute Pomodoros, 10-minute breaks, and that's what I'm doing right now, 30-minute, 10-minute breaks. 30-minute Pomodoro, 10-minute break. But like, just please, I would reiterate to get the apps because it actually helps you track your progress, and you can see and you can compare how much revision you're doing. You can say, okay, how did I do during the mocks? I need to revise exactly like near to the same amount as I'm doing for my real exams, and you can keep track of it. I recommend the Focus To Do app more than Flora because you can actually like see your progress better. I think like it shows the blocks of the Pomodoros. I might put an image here and I'll actually show you so you could actually visually compare the months. So yeah, that's my next tip, and then the final tip after this is the final one. But the next tip is to eliminate distractions. Now, you might think distractions include TV, phone. It can actually be different things as well. It might be your distraction might be yourself in a way. It could be you procrastinate a lot. You might be tempted to like go out as well. Like that's like, you shouldn't probably go out as well if you're studying. Not to say you shouldn't have breaks and go out, but it's that temptation of I want to go out, I want to go drink, I want to go do this, I want to go do that. Like, you should try and eliminate distractions from that. Your distraction, and I'm sorry if this is controversial, but your distraction can also be family members. It can also be like them asking you to do chores. It can also be like work as well. And it can also be like boyfriends or girlfriends. In my case, boyfriend. But like, you would be lucky if you had a girlfriend or boyfriend who goes to your sixth form or goes to a different sixth form or a different college or is in the academic system in some way and understands what it's like to have your grade on the line and the dedication that's needed in order to achieve good and do well. Basically, like, I really struggled with this because I wanted to also maintain the balance between loving my boyfriend Victor and also focusing on school. And it was like, how do I do both? Because you've got to make some sacrifices sometimes, you know. And I spoke to the sixth form team at my sixth form about this, and they simply gave me an option. It sounded really cutthroat. I won't repeat the conversation, but like, they gave me an option and they kept reiterating for me how important my education is and how far I've come and how I shouldn't like put it, like I shouldn't diminish the importance of my education just for romance. And you need to realize how important your education is. You only get one shot at this, especially A-levels. You can't like resit the A-levels. You can't resit A-levels. I put here that boys can wait. Boys or girls can wait. They can wait for you. If he or she truly loves you, they would understand. And if he or she is potentially going to university, then they get it. They understand. They understand what it's like to be in education, the demands it has. I want to go back to quickly about the parents as well, especially if your parents are African or they're immigrants or they just haven't they don't know, or they've never done A-levels in their life. They've never done even GCSEs in their life. They may say to you all the time that you need to study, you need to study, you need to study. But I actually had the opposite because I lived with my mum. I actually had the opposite. My mum didn't understand A-levels. And I feel like the thing that a lot of kids are lacking is guidance. We just need guidance. If I had guidance at the beginning of year 12 when I was 16, I wouldn't be in the mess I got in and having to drop out because I couldn't continue because of my health, and I wouldn't have chosen the wrong subjects basically. So you need to make sure you do research on A-levels, because the first thing my mum said to me that I got a 9 in English literature, she said to me when I said to her I wanted to take English literature at A-level, why do you need to take it at A-level? You've already done it at GCSE. Just take that in for a moment, please, guys. Just take that in for a moment. My mum, because of the misunderstanding that my mum had of what A-levels actually was, what the pinnacle, what makes A-levels. A-levels is more than just another subject. It's further education. It's furthering the foundation of GCSE and moving on to something bigger, like extending the knowledge that you've already had in GCSE and further consolidating it. Please don't take A-levels just don't take A-levels just because you want to be rich basically, or you want to get a certain job or anything like that. Take the A-levels that you're good at. Take A-levels that you're good at and that you know well. That's my best advice. Take A-levels that you're good at. Obviously your subjects need to have some form of relevance to what you want to study at university, but just take A-levels you're good at, please. Do not take A-levels, and don't listen to your parents if they try and pressure you to taking anything. My mum tried to pressure me into taking IT because she thought it was really lucrative, and I was like, no, I'm not taking IT. But I was so close to taking IT because I was just like, yeah, I should go where the money goes. Can you imagine if I took IT or computer science? I actually went to the induction for computer science, and the teacher was trying to tell my mum, no, you can't take this subject if you're not good at it. And she was just like, yeah, whatever, it's rich, go do it. You can get rich from this, and you shouldn't do that. You should just do what you're good at. And my final point is romanticize learning. Like, actually find your drive. You need to romanticize learning, because if you don't, you're gonna suffer. Like, this was what was missing for me. I started like romanticizing learning. I started listening to like motivational speeches, motivational like videos, and it really, really, really helped. It just helped. Okay, so that's my video for now, and that's my advice to year 12s or going to be year 12s. I hope and wish you the best for the next 2 years that you're going to college or sixth form. Have fun. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't compare. Try and go into it with an open mind and have fun, because you only get to do this once. You only get to do it once. You may want to like do it all over again. It's a roller coaster, really. But or you might loathe the end, and you might just want to get it off, done, and put it behind you. Like, that's up to you. But I hope you enjoyed this video and it was helpful to you. So thank you. If you want to see, for example, what I said earlier about how to make effective flashcards, just let me know. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.